Well, I guess you guys know what time it is when we happen to be starting this one, at least. Today we dropped an update, episode, whatever you want to call it, and I get to read it for the first time. Hello, everybody. This is Frogman. Welcome back to Captain of Industry. There seems to be some interesting things. Apparently, people are having a hard time dealing with eggs in the game because of chickens. Chickens are a royal pain in the tail. I don't know. We may mess with them. We may not. I have, unfortunately, been digging down through some of the recipes since I'm kind of interested in a few things, and I'm noticing some massive pain points that we're going to have to overcome when the time comes. But I think for now, we'll worry about that later. What else have we got in here? Optimize leveling cross must be marked obsolete because no big deal there. And pretty much, oh, that's kind of neat. The train cars now be flipped horizontally in the trains designer. And there's the mass replace tool, which I haven't bothered to try to figure out how to use. That's just a bunch of nice little fixes, looks like. So cool. Let's kick back into the game. Alrighty then, so where we left off, we had completed the, reproduction, doing over of the, upgrading of our blast furnaces for our steel and our copper, and again, this is what I'm still considering mid-game stuff, so, we're getting there. I've actually started to work on, some projects that are going to hopefully start happening fairly soon, and we're going to have to start thinking about things because of, how the magic and the math and the stuff and the parts and everything seems to need to ramp up in this game. So I know I touched on it on the very end of last episode as well. I did have to go put in another furniture maker thingy in here because the usage was just enough. I mean, it was just enough that we weren't making enough. So it was like, I think it was 16.5 or 17 on occasion is what they wanted. So it is what it is. We'll be fine on that part. And once we get into the next layer, we're going to get some better assemblers. Everything will be a lot better here fairly soon, although they're going to cost us some more stuff. I've since thrown down some more stuff here. I ripped out the iron processing that we had because in reality, if I think I need more iron processing, I'll just tack something on the end down here that it can kind of trickle through. And again, as I stated, we were working on trying to get getting the steel and everything else, getting a bunch of this pollution scrubbed down so that it's not as nasty. So there is now a scrubber sitting on this system. I am using the bigger recipe here because again, there's something like 300 pollution that comes out of this right now. And that is, the sum and more. It's like that'd be equivalent to like 2 or 3 sets of what this produces. So these oxygen furnaces and these blast furnaces make a pretty decent amount of pollution. It's one of those things you do have to pay attention to. And I know I probably marked it on too as well. This, theoretically, this 192 CO2 right here is more than this thing can process in a reasonable amount of time. But because of the fact this is making, half of what this is doing, like I said, we're actually under half. We're like 200 or a little less pollution over here. So it's not even that bad. This will have all the time in the world it needs right now to be able to get rid of the CO2 pollution, the CO2 emission that's coming out of here. So it should be fine, maybe, for a little while. We'll see how it goes. For this one, for certain, I put a big smokestack on it because it can handle up to 900 pollution in one go or 900 emission in one go. But in here, what you see is kind of the thing that's interesting. So we're turning, as we kind of talked about last time, I'm turning 480 pollution into 192 CO2, which equates for, if you look in this thing, an awful lot less pollution, basically, overall. I don't know what was wrong with my brain, but yeah, we're like more than half, or at least like this one particular thing compared to what was over here, I think is like a quarter of the pollution. So it has definitely helped our people and how they feel about us, or at least right now. The air pollution was like 10. So we're down quite a ways as far as those go. Now, for the rest of what I wanted to do today, and I mean, this is, again, we're doing back-to-back kind of stuff. I'm just kind of catching you guys up on what happened in between episodes, because I did let the game run probably another 200 years or 150 years. There's going to be a bunch of jumps periodically as we do certain things like that, because, there's going to be things we need to do, like, we're going to start leveling this portion out so that we can kind of start coming this direction, because we are eventually going to need to come over to this island for the, what is this? I believe it's titanium. I think it's titanium ore over here. We're going to need to be able to get to that eventually for the space station, whatnot, and everything like that. There's also a little glop of iron there, limestone beach here, copper and more trees, and I think there's even some coal somewhere over here. Not really concerned about it, but there's a really nice patch of oil. There will come a time where we'll go pump all this oil up and use it. I am definitely planning on starting to work on a decent mega base project. I haven't yet really physically mega based in this game. I've mainly just kind of built about to this size and then just worked my way through the end of it. However, I haven't been able to get to the point in the game yet where I think the most I've ever done in the game so far has been to getting to the old rockets. And the old rockets weren't all that hard to get to. They were, it took a little time. Granted, it took a little time, but like this was the end of the game. This spot right here was the end of the game. None of this existed. The space station didn't exist. I actually think the rockets are back here. Yeah, this one right here. It ends here. The aluminum didn't exist. Titanium didn't exist. The space stations didn't exist. It kind of ended like right here at the end of this little section right there. You could get a little bit more goodie in here. There was some more stuff, but it pretty much ended right in there. And of course, there was not these repeatable, which is amazing kind of things, repeatable stuff. I do want to get to the point where we're looking at something like, well, I mean, we're doing, what is it, 13 times 4 at this point. That's a miserable 52 science per minute. So what I am planning on doing, hopefully by the end of this is not going to be like Factorio for me. I'm not going to go absolutely crazy, but we are going to be looking at probably close to like 200-300 science or research per minute. I think is where my goal is going to be, 250, 350, somewhere in there. Something that so when we're into those big gigantic 1,000 numbers, I'm not sitting here for hours waiting on it to get done. So, anyhow, I just wanted to kind of converse and retrace steps there. We are currently filling in what's left of that hole, and I think that's pretty much it as far as anything that might have changed. It's kind of one of those things when you sit down and you play for several hours, things happen, and then you remember how things go. So, on to the next step. There are two things I want to do, and the first thing is I want to immediately jump right into the next layer of circuits so we can unlock the next layer of technology that we get to play in. And then I want to, I need to deal desperately with this hospital situation because we haven't had anything really nasty happen thus far, but I happened to load up one of my older worlds, and that older world was not totally functional, and I had to kind of fix it and play around with it for a little while, and I let the hospital die on I think it was a 1,000-day or 1,000-year-old save, kind of like that, and I got into a flu deadly when I lost about 15% of my population. And when you're talking about 15%, like 3,500 people, that's a lot of workers that you suddenly don't have. So that was quite a traumatic little thingy. So we're going to work towards not having that happen. Sicknesses are one of those things that will take you out of the game when you least need them to. So in of that, we're going to start with the first thing, which is we're going to start working on moving towards to make the circuits, these circuits right here. So the green circuits, I love how they're not red, but they are green, and then the next layer is red. The next layer of circuits will get made probably up in here, or they will get made over here, depending on how we can manage to scrape these things together. And again, there's going to be a time when we're going to rip all of this out and move it somewhere else, which is still mind-boggling to me that I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that. But anyhow, so we're going to need to be able to make, where's the button? We're going to start with 24 PCBs per minute, so we're going to do 2 of those right here. And that is going to allow us to make, how did I manage to do that number? 12, 12, 12, 1, 2, 1 more of those. I think it's there. That's enough. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because these circuits go into the next layer of construction parts in here. They're actually a pretty sizable part of that construction part, as well as they're a pretty sizable part of the maintenance that's going to go into it. So it's one of those kinds of things. I know I ripped out some of these circuit makers here and the construction parts makers in here, we will be adding them back in. I will guarantee you we will be adding them back in. So that is the goal for today. I want to get those up and running again, and then we're going to get some of the, well, at least one more module going. So if I can do all that, then I can just chill out and let this thing run for, I don't know, probably another century, well, not a century, couple of centuries probably, and we'll be fine. So to get that done, I've already done a little bit of work moving things around. So we've got a new thing, which the reason why I'm doing this, doing the hospital is because we need the plastic. Plastic is coming out of a polymerization plant that is being fed naphtha and chlorine, and that is going to give us a little bit of pollution again and a bunch of plastic. We'll probably have to make another one of these, but we'll see how this all goes. I guess I can put you on low. We don't need to be sitting here, but it's since been filtered out onto the bus. It's since been stuck into a couple of machines, and the only thing that we're short here is, I believe, that's it. That's all I should be able to do. So we can actually turn those on, and I'd like to turn them on and let them go. So you guys go ahead. Whoops. You know what? I'll let them build them. I got tired of them driving in here, and that's okay. Go ahead and build them. So the next problem is once these are built, those are going to produce the base for the electronics. So this is a two-part process where you have to build two different things. I think I kind of like this way because it's rather interesting. It gets you a little bit more involved with how the process works. And it's kind of somewhat more realistic, although, I mean, they don't use glass or plastic. They don't use plastic and glass. I guess that's a conversation for saying that's fiberglass or resin. I don't know. Anyhow, next step is we're going to take some of the electronics that we already have built. We're going to take those PCBs, and we're going to take silicon poly. Now, last time I was speaking of another furnace, and the other furnace, which I guess we can just look at it over here, is called a arc furnace. An arc furnace requires graphite, so it's more in tune with what the world would be using if you're trying to process something like aluminum or one of those higher quality things that require high amounts of electricity or whatever to use. And as such, these things use a lot of power. There's 4 megawatts each. It's a lot of power. We have enough at this point, but we're going to be probably struggling once we turn this whole thing on. In order to get silicon poly, we have to add hydrogen to molten silicon in a silicon reactor. Molten silicon is made in a arc furnace with sand, coal, and graphite, and that's what you get out of there. So this is just going to be the first system, probably of many. This will likely get reproduced again because we're going to need a bunch of these later on. But I am going to start for now with 2 furnaces because the later furnace that we'll get will be able to support 4 of these apiece. So we'll be able to double our out our system just by adding in 2 more of the these little silicon reactors to the system. For that matter, I want to go ahead and turn that one on and build it immediately. So I guess we could just build the whole thing while we're at it. Go ahead and build it all, but we want to get that thing built immediately so we can start hauling some of this hydrogen over there because we need the hydrogen. This is going to be one of those things where we're going to fight with things for a little while we work on it because I'm still a little slow on some of the things that I really need, to the point that I've already got the next layer of these up. And again, the reasoning why is because I sat down and played an older one of my worlds and I shouldn't have, and I realized just again how inadequate the fuel production is that we have. But I have to remember I only have about a half of what I had in that particular save. Plus in this save, we should be able to actually start making things a little better. I'm already a lot better than that save was. So I'd love to share it with you guys, but it's an utter mess, and it's on the edge of it's on the brink of falling over on itself about every 5 minutes. So it's pretty hair-raising at times. Anyhow, we'll let those build, I think, and then while they're building, we can add in the things that we need here. So we're going to get those. You guys can go ahead and build those too if we have the parts. And we're going to take what's coming out of you guys. Flat conveyor 1 should be fine. We go 3 over and down. You can go, nope, go the other way, over and in. Oh, nuts. I am going to have to do this the fun way, aren't I? How many of these make? Hang on a second. You make 12, you need 6. No, that'll be fine, actually. You can go over there, any excess goes that way. You can connect to there. and go in there. That's fine. That'll work. That's okay. I'm good with that. Yes, good enough. So then we need to get not enough workers. Right. I need to shut things off. No, I don't. I can do that. I forgot we upgraded housing. So we'll be okay there. I am going to go ahead and pause all of this while we gather some people. Actually, no, I don't need to do that. Yeah. Pause those so we don't have problems. For right now, it's okay. We don't need that running completely. So this should be set to empty slag, right? Yes. Hang on. Grab the settings off a slag bucket. It should be this one. No. That one. Copy. Paste. And then I think we'll copy pasta. Which one is it? Which one's it gonna be? That one? You, and then copy pasta the sand that's right here. Put it right there. So that should be coal. That should be sand. This is going to be something that should already be getting produced. Keep that full because we need graphite rods. Graphite rods I am currently making inside this chemical plant with some coal and some of the chlorine that we made a while back. So that's just been shipped over here, over to there. And again, we also need chlorine in order to be able to make the plastic. So we're squared away there. Whoops. And the coal is being dumped in here. I've since, like I said, removed some of the refinery systems just so there's a kind of a road path through here, and it has helped with the traffic a little bit. So I think we'll probably leave it for now. But again, yes, we're going to do at least, well, 3 sets of these things, which means I need another one of these somewhere. Probably, yeah, at least another one of those and maybe some more of this. It's fine. It's okay. And again, I'm not really worried about this. This will produce as we do more work. So, again, please stop trying to help. No, it's not that one. You. As those build, we'll be good to go. So I'm going to have to wait on them to, well, produce stuff. Kick her back up to 3, and I will see you guys once this is completed. Alright, I think it's time for some real spaghetti. We need to get this through the center here, which is fine. And the thing is, we can't continue because the steel is going to go through here. And part of this bus has always been kind of, you know, my fun point of having things. I managed to put that on the wrong layer, didn't I? Can we delete you really quickly? We're going to put in a 3rd bus. So I want to go you, because I'm going to need these later on down the line, although we don't need them right now. I want to put it right there. How come you're not making... Oh, yeah, it's because we paused it. I was going to say, why is it not working? Because it's not working. And I'm going to go right straight through the middle of this. Hit R. Do not let it pick anything up, and it's going to come right to here. Now, poly... Can I get to see it? I think we can see how this works. Silicon poly is used in a multitude of things, one of which is solar panels, of which, again... there's a very, very, very small chance we might use solar panels just because they've supposedly made them better, but, you know, with a game that doesn't have a day-night cycle, it's kind of one of those things that's amazing, but again, when you're talking about covering surface area with, you know, usable, buildable surface area with things that you can't build anything under, I mean, I saw a meme the other day where it's like, why are we covering usable farmland with solar panels when parking lots and garages should be a better location? But, you know, it is what it is. That's just the farmer and me talking. I have the same problem here. Like, so the only time the solar panels really technically don't work is when it's raining, which is nice, but they make such little power that it's almost not worth the work, at least in my opinion. But we'll hook that up. And And then we'll drag electronics, I guess, in from this side. I don't mind that at all. I like this. I like this. It's not spaghetti. It's your spaghetti. Your spaghetti. How much are they going to need? Do I need a 20 belt or a 200 belt? No, not right now. Maybe later. Although I should probably just be building it with that anyway. Just give me the thing. Thank you. Still getting used to this interface. Belt snapping is off. We're going to turn it on. We need to go... where? Yes. Okay, over the top. And to about... stop connecting. Just right there. And then one of these. All right, that should be the unlocker for the next step. We've got our silicon coming in. So I have room for... wow. I thought I redid it. Oh, we're still working on it. We're just finally getting there. All right, let's get that house built, and then we'll, I guess, let everything else build, and then probably fill the boxes back up, and then turn this mess on, and get the next unlocker for the next portion of technology. I think these are the neat ones. I forget. These are the ones that, yeah, these are the ones that look like little kind of, I don't know. I would call them row houses, but they're not really row houses. They look better than these ones, but that's cool. All right, so now we have room for 100 and some odd people. Let's go invite some friends. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to stop there because I don't want to overrun our food just yet. Just yet. That's going to be... This is one of those things we're going to be fighting with till the end of the game, pretty much. So, let's go do the thing, which is turn this, that, and that on. And we'll let them build some parts for a little while. Oh, and I did the thing that I normally do. Somewhere over here, we're going to have to inject some exhaust collection. I didn't do that here. For now, we're just gonna make pollution because I don't mind it. But then again, I'm not a biter on Novus. It is a kind of a neat little animation here. How the little pieces of silicon just get tossed into a little bin and then put out into the thing. So you guys can get built. And you can all get built. And then we're going to do a... Interestingly enough, I think I'm going to try to do a middle bus probably... Sorry for that. Probably about right here, because maintenance is going to need it. Although I don't really... I think we'll probably do 3 along this side. I don't think I have an issue with that at that point. Let me get a full thing. So a full unit storage here. And then I should be able to slot that dude in right behind this one. Like so. And we're going to be making, what is it? Stop. So 24 a minute, we can use the basic belts just to save on parts. Because God knows I'm not good at saving on parts. Move that one back 1 step. Thank you. Now do it. Check the button. Drop. Drop. I know I should be sticking it underneath that, but hey, we don't have to be perfect all the time. Okay, so click off, 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 make your parts, undo all of this, go, And then our next step, as far as research is concerned, in here we have to craft. Well, we already have 16, 20 done. That was nice. That was quick. Good. So now we have access to we've got the access to the next level of maintenance, and I can start that research. So that's going to cost me 1,500 of the stuff that we currently have, which is likely going to mean I'm going to drain boxes. How are we doing? We have plenty of stuff. Use it. Let's make stuff happen. Let's get that unlocked, and then we can look at the next little step. So those will pump through here and slowly make us a little bit of green circuits or electronics 2. I will place those up on the belt when we get the time or the need of it, because the maintenance lab number 2 is going to go probably right down here, and I'm just going to run that stuff in underneath all of that and drop it in so that we should be able to be okay, at least I think even at this point. I don't believe I'm going to need this or this for at least the next, I don't know how many tiers of science, depending on how we're working on. So for those of you that are wondering about whether or not you need a lot of construction, you need to look at your maintenance and understand what's using it. So the more trucks you have and the more belts you have, like this other is, top consumers in here. This is top consumers. But like the more belts you have and the more trucks you have, especially the basic trucks, this is where your maintenance one is going into. I mean, sure, sorting plants, furnaces, coal mines, things, stuff like that, those are all in there. But like that 31% and the 50%, more than 50% of, about 50% actually, of our research or maintenance is going specifically into transportation. And it will always be that way. So the more belts you have out in the world, or the more trucks you have available running around, especially if you look at that particular things, we're replacing a considerable amount of trucks with a lot of belts, and it shows. So let's let that get completed, and then we can go on to the next step, which is going to be hopefully getting these people to keep from getting sick, because I'm really surprised, again, fingers crossed, that nothing else happens. There we go. We got our next system up and running. That should be construction 4, which will offer up the opportunity to do something that I've been looking forward to, which we will probably try to get on into the next episode. That will also get us some more happiness for our people, some jobs. You know, we all like to put people to work for offices. It's going to give us the next research lab, which this stuff is monstrous, but we'll be able to make a decent amount of it. And better power generation. So I think to end today, I know we're kind of messing around here, and I've been waiting on that for a couple of minutes. I'm not going to do any more science or research, because I'm going to probably do all of this off camera, although these are we might be able to do those. Again, it's just more stuff to give people happiness. Part of the whole point, again, like I said last time, happiness equates to more unity. Unity, for what it's worth, is something you need to be spending in here, so that you can do stuff in here. So if I wanted to, so like right now, I've been giving them double the food, which is allowing me to increase their farm yield, which is feeding them so much, but it's also allowed me to reduce the amount of water we're using and reduce the amount of maintenance that we're using. And what I really want to do is get into this recycling efficiency, the research efficiency, and this one. So if we can make them a little more happier, we can. So it's just a currency you can spend either to rebuild things quickly or not. Anyhow, the last step that we need to do that I want to get done today before I close out this episode is that I want to start producing stuff for medical, because I do not want to go through another one of those "it's going to kill us all" things before we have a chance to deal with it. So medical is going to be produced in a clinic for the moment, and this clinic is going to probably live, well, we're going to need access to some of this stuff. So I say we put the clinic, I'm going to have to truck things in either way I do this. Let's put the clinic down here. I think we can get to everything we need for the clinic. So we're going to add the basic medical supplies. And that is going to require medical equipment, which is steel and plastic, to make those. And this is going to require disinfectant, which is one of those rabbit holes that I love about this game. This forces you, no matter what, to make biofuel. because you have to make ethanol. Ethanol can be utilized to do many, many different things. Sulfur, you can burn it in your fuel thingies, your fuel generators. You can use it to make plastic. You can do a lot of different things. It's one of those, you don't necessarily have to do it, but if you want to keep your people alive, they're forcing you to. And the interesting thing about that, there's another force down the line that I really, well, I don't really care for, and I'm not looking forward to doing it. This one. So, is what it is. Let's see what we can do about getting that going. This shouldn't be just more than constructing a couple of things, but let's start with the fun part, which is we need to tear this off. Use your Unity button. Use your currency. You have all the magic sticks in the world. So we can't connect to there, but we can place it here. We're going to do this. And then I'm going to do another U-shaped lift about right there with a flip. If that'll connect and it won't... How did I do that? Holy cow. No. Control X. Down. There. Okay, are you happy with that if I build you? Will you keep playing with us? We're nice people. But anyhow, again, what we're going to do is we're going to scrape off just a small amount, and I mean just a small amount of the corn, and make ethanol out of it. So I need a storage container, a little one, and this is when I'm going to start using some of this logic that we've been given. I want you to, before it fills that thing up, I want to gather about, well, here's the thing. Corn. Trucks are not going to be allowed to pull out or put in. It's fine. You're going to get built. You're going to get built. And I'm going to utilize this thing right here. I only want to receive from belts if below whatever the number is that it is required to make ethanol. And ethanol, I believe, is made in a... Well, we can look at the system here. Ethanol. Ethanol is produced in a fermentation tank. And we don't have any sugar right now. I should have... I thought I found sugar cane. Huh. Okay, whatever, okay. Use the button. They made this button specifically so you could do this. Use it. I'm going to have to learn to use that button. All right, so this... We're going to build it this way, and then I'm just going to have them truck the ethanol down where it needs to go. That way we have plenty of room. I have no idea how much we're going to need. That's corn mash. Right. All right, I remember this now. So we need to make corn mash. Corn mash is made in a mill. I want to be able to run one single fermenter or fermentation tank at flat out speed. So that's 12. This is going to be corn. I remember this being awkward. They always have to make these awkward numbers. So to run one tank flat out, we're going to need at least 2 of these, which is fine. Like so. And this is going to get placed with enough room in between to do things, because if I recall correctly, you need oxygen, and you are going to give us a byproduct of animal feed that is going to need to be taken care of. Right. It's been a couple of minutes. Let's see what we can't do. Alright, I realize this is going to be another one of those we're just going to do it and blow it, so just go ahead and get it over with. We don't care at this point. Turn the game on and let's see what happens. Okay, so the thing here is, what I want to do is I want to set a priority out here for this particular tank. But what I want to do is I want to do one thing. I want to make sure that this only receives from belts if below the amount that it takes to run, say, how many cycles. So we need 24 a cycle to produce things. So if we look at our numbers, we're going to look at this. We're going to try to attempt to make 12 corn mash a minute. I likely will need to make more than that, but for now, I'm going to make a little bit more. Well, we're going to make 12 corn mash a minute, which means we're not going to be able to utilize this. We're going to be overproducing by a considerable amount. So let's just say, hypothetically, I want you to not accept anything from belts if you're above, what's a nice number, 80? Let's just say 80. Let's just say we're going to attempt to keep at a max, unless this system is full, 80. I think that'll work. I don't know. I've not used that setting yet. Okay, so that should... Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take the animal feed, this leftover stuff, we're going to shove it into a mixer. We're going to make compost out of that, and then compost is going to end up either as this over here or as dumped over here as nice little pieces of brand new dirt. Okay, so you... Oh, we need oxygen. I knew there was one more thing I needed. Can I steal? No, I can't. I cannot steal the oxygen. Well, then slap an oxygen maker right there, because we love just slapping things down and making it work. There you go. And there you go. And get some unity going. Build. That might mess a little bit with their pathways, but we'll end up moving a little bit of this later on. I'm just trying to get a couple of things going. I probably actually should have put this thing, like, you know, back here, but our access is to this. You theoretically are making something that is near and dear to my heart. Nice. Okay, we'll let that run. Next step, we need to get the hospital built. And I think we're going to do it back here because we're going to need access to the steel and all the other little fun things. So let's make the rest of the parts that we need in order to be able to do this. I think we can put it right there and then maybe build everything kind of down here in this corner. So first thing we need to be able to do is for medical kits, med kits, medical supplies, medical equipment, and the disinfectant. Disinfectant requires ethanol and plastic. So the first thing we're going to make is that, because we have to put a tank down here for them to haul to. At least for now, until I decide to run a pipe down here. Alright, that should make the disinfectant that we need go ahead on pause. And I did the same thing here. I don't want that one. Let's get rid of you and you, because they are going to need to pull in there and dump. That's cool. Okay, so the last access we have for steel is right here. So medical equipment, or at least the medical supplies, the little thingies that have to go with this. Medical equipment are steel and plastic and that. Because I, well, ran that thing through where the steel goes instead of being smart and not doing that. I'm not feeling like messing with it. So spaghetti incoming, as we like to say. Please don't eat all my food until we absolutely have some that we can feed you. Okay, so we have made a small amount of the ethanol. Ethanol should be drugged down to this tank, hopefully, and filled in here. This is now producing, well, it's an actual kind of a fun recipe. I like it. They're taking ethanol and plastic and turning it into disinfectant, because that makes a lot of sense, because that's pretty much what that is. And, well, then we're taking a little bit of plastic and some steel and turning it into surgical equipment or medical equipment. Those are being stuffed together, given into medical supplies, and crammed into a clinic. Which means from now on, every single time, this is going to give us a small bonus for the, very small bonus for the unity cap. But what will happen is, every time the inevitable disease happens, we will have some protection from it, which means when we start seeing those diseases that would normally remove our population or remove our resources from us, this shouldn't happen. Anyhow, I figured that's enough for the moment in time. I've kind of been at this pretty hard for this last week, and again, like I said, I'm going on vacation. I hope you all enjoy these. I've really enjoyed this series. We're going to do a lot more. I want you all to understand, this is baby steps. We are still just barely stepping into what we're going to do. I understand that this tree is not very much deeper at this point. I mean, in reality, we've got this and then this. But the big boy toys are coming. And when the big boy toys are coming, well, when we get them, and these, and some of the other big stuff that's out here, like rockets, I've not gotten to experience space stations. I've not gotten to experience, well, the things that come with space. Apparently, and I'm going to say it just like this, apparently there are going to be more fireworks available than you would normally find on the regular 4th of July. For that matter, you guys should be getting this episode on the 4th of July. I wish all of my American friends a happy 4th of July. Go out and enjoy and be good to each other. And, remember that there's a reason why we're getting to celebrate this holiday. And for the rest of you, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to continue playing around, and I'm going to continue, tearing apart this island. We may or may not start doing random little bitty day-long live streams depending on the weather, where we get to start tearing this thing apart. And when that happens, I will let you guys know. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Happy holidays, and on to the next.